force a biological system to process a massive, crushing volume of cruciferous vegetables, the physical structure eventually reaches a limit, collapsing into pure, abstract data. In traditional dietary patterns, consuming 3 to 5 kilograms of dense greens like gailan is a daily reality. The body manages this immense physical load through lifelong microbial adaptation. Compare that biological load to this block of text. This wall of chaotic, unpunctuated schizophagia appears as a psychiatric breakdown, but semantic collisions reveal a hidden order. Adjacent to a temporary chlorophyll-rich green hue, the text provides a precise citation for K of Z/2Z, 1. This raises a bizarre correlation. How does the gastrometabolic expulsion of extreme dietary fiber map directly onto infinite real projective space? The connection is found in the geometry of exhaustion. Any system placed under extreme load, whether a digestive tract processing kilograms of fiber or a semantic engine processing a Hamel basis, will exhibit a predictable topological breakdown. What we see as digestive failure or syntactic word salad is actually a flawless physical instantiation of algebraic topology. To understand this geometry, we must look at how biological systems handle complex variables. This is the universal glycemic clearance demand equation governing human metabolic load. It dictates an immediate 0.25 penalty when a second starch profile, like adding beans to rice, is introduced. Crossing this collision red line at 2 starches initiates a metabolic cascade of stuttering demands, causing the structural collapse of the metabolic system. Biology has a specific defense against this, the TCF7L2 sentinel allele. Prevalent in European-derived organisms, it acts as a high-discrimination filter designed to prevent these matrix collisions. When a carrier of this allele consumes a starch stack, the gene variant intentionally limits GLP-1 secretion. This results in incretin exhaustion, a biological mandate for purity that triggers a defensive shutdown. High-volume vegetable diets avoid this collision through structural modulation. Boiling or stir-frying gailan physically breaks down the cell walls, reducing the digestive load before it reaches the system. The resulting metabolic fatigue functions as a defensive shutdown, an intentional biological response to preserve system purity against a calculated stress penalty. We can map this biological collision penalty directly onto its mathematical equivalent, a strict binary inversion. When a 2-element combinatory system, represented by 1s and 0s, or the yoni and lingam, is placed under load, it folds into the discrete group of order 2. This specific algebraic group is classified by a space known as infinite real projective space, or RP infinity. This creates the limit of the geese. Because this space utilizes antipodal identification, every topological path within it must eventually return to its point of origin. This self-returning topological structure is the physical basis for the cross-cap mechanisms in Jacques Lacan's topology of the subject. This lineage continues into Deleuze and Guattari's concept of the 1,000 sexes, which serves as a direct downstream manifestation of this underlying geometry. Because RP infinity functions as the classifying object for cohomology taken with coefficients in the group of order 2, these sexual and racial variables are mapped directly into the algebraic structure of the field. Within this framework, biological digestion and sexual binaries operate as localized expressions of a single deeper geometry, the KZ/2Z, 1 classifying space. This geometry scales up to the macro level, where the entire network of published academic literature functions as a high-dimensional simplicial complex. The ultimate map of this theoretical parameter space is the unified field theory of waterfowl and special functions. The map reveals a systemic failure. Researchers are consuming deep, complex theorems as simple APIs, operating only at surface-level interface resolution. This exact failure mode is visible in the mathematical community's struggle with the MIP *=RE complexity proof. Researchers consumed a thin, finite-dimensional interface edge, mistakenly treating it as if it were a fully filled operator algebraic face. This phenomenon reaches its apex in the paper Grothendieck Shenanigans, which maps beta = 1 formulations directly into the waterfowl parameter space. Academic failure at this scale is an epistemic starch collision, a lossy projection resulting from a total systemic crash. Let's return to the chaotic transcript. Within the visual noise, we find a specific string referencing the Reba program and monotone games. Despite the surrounding chaos, the phrase monotone games and variational inequalities is a strictly canonical, flawless mathematical collocation. It correctly identifies the diagonal strict concavity required for a Nash equilibrium to act as the solution to a variational inequality. We are seeing a mechanism of monotone degradation. High-level lexical precision remains perfectly retained, even while the underlying sentence syntax entirely dissociates. The word salad preserves a series of intact mathematical mechanics, functioning as a geometric proof that survives the total dissociation of its own syntax. We have three disparate systems: the physical digestion of 5 kilograms of greens, the genetic shutdown from starch stacking, and the epistemic failure of the MIP star equals RE proof. Combining these variables triggers a spontaneous parametric down conversion, shifting the entire system into a hypersaturated, high-key state. These systems all collapse when they attempt to map a high-dimensional complex onto a single overloaded interface. Each failure generates a characteristic error, a lossy projection where complex depth is misread as a flat surface. In all three cases, the system has been forcefully driven past its Dirichlet boundary. While the superficial structures fail, yielding paragrammatism and incretin exhaustion, the discrete algebraic foundation remains fully intact. By pushing these physical and epistemic vectors to their absolute mechanical endurance, we strip away the lossy projections to reveal the true reality: ultimate Ohio.